Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Thursday live stream. We are, one second, if you could let me know if you can hear me, that'd be great. This is the Thursday live stream, episode 15, and we are live streaming and we are creating sculpting in ZBrush, a creature inside ZBrush. We're going to continue on with the alien face hugger tonight, but before we do, I just wanted to share with you, I don't know if you guys have actually found out online yet or not, but there's a new trailer for this for Fantastic Four, and I thought maybe we could have a look at it. I'm hoping this isn't gonna get me a strike on YouTube, but I thought, well, because I've got something to show you afterwards. So, but before we do that, I'm just gonna play you a very quick video on the membership side. So I'll be back in 1 minute. So you want to join my membership? Gotcha. Sign up. By joining, you won't only unlock members-only content, you'll also be supporting my channel and the growth of the community. Are you ready to do your part?
I'm doing my part.
For as little as a price of coffee a month.
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit.
You'll be able to access all past live streams and get exclusive members-only content.
Yeah, boy.
That's less than 49p a video.
Shut up and take my money.
So if you're ready, join now and become part of this 3D journey.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Okay, so yeah, as you saw there, you can become a member of my YouTube channel. You can also become a member of my Patreon channel, or my Patreon, sorry. The tier 3s are actually working on a new tutorial. This is the one. It's a ZBrush tutorial on how to sculpt the Velociraptor from Jurassic Park from beginning to end, and it's ideal for beginners and intermediate or experienced artists. It's a really cool piece. You can put it in your portfolio afterwards and show it off. And I'm currently having a sale on my online stores. The link's in the description box below with all the coupon stuff. It's 30% off sale on ArtStation from the 1st of April to the 30th of April. I think this is the last week, or second to last week. So you've got time to go and grab some models, brushes, tutorials, you know, all that good stuff. Cool. Right. We got that out of the way. Like I mentioned before at the beginning, I just saw that there's a trailer drop for Fantastic Four, and I thought maybe we could all watch it together. So I'm just going to quickly share that. Where is it? So I haven't seen this yet, so this should be quite interesting. Oops, not got any sound, 1 second.
Wow, folks, we all know the story. 4 brave astronauts head up into space and come back forever changed.
This car?
Our city, our planet, owe a debt to these intrepid souls. And while we can never repay them, we can certainly celebrate them.
Thank you, Fantastic Four. Thank you.
Thank you, Fantastic Four!
Please welcome the Fantastic Four.
Herbie, how's that sauce looking? Okay. That is fantastic.
You're late.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? You're late for dinner.
Yes, we are.
You late?
I just said that.
Are
That's pretty cool, I'd say.
What?
The whole
You're gonna be the
whole
best
Ben Grimm thing is
mom
pretty
in the
cool.
world. And you are gonna be the best dad. Just kidding. You are out of your depth. We are gonna be the best uncles ever.
We can do this. Nothing is going to change.
Just Galactus.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Oh, the Silver Sun. Female.
Yes,
Silver
we
Sun.
are.
Your planet is now marked for death.
It's my fault. I stretched the bounds of space.
And they hurt.
Are we safe?
I don't know. There's not enough time.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm not giving up.
There he is.
We will face this together.
Oh, cool.
We will fight it together. As a family. Has to be us.
We will protect you.
Ha! Brilliant. Oh, that was cool. Let's stop sharing. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I thought I'd just show you that because, funny enough, I'm actually working on a female Silver Surfer as well. And I'll show you. Just share the screen. And I'm going to make myself a little small down. Oh, actually, up the top. Yeah, so that was the Fantastic Four. This is not Silver Surfer. This is the face hugger we're working on. But I thought I'd just show you a quick preview of the sort of thing I've been working on. I noticed the Fantastic Four coming out a while back, but we never saw the sort of rendition of the female Silver Surfer. So I thought about making it myself before the film could come out or before we actually got to see her. But unfortunately, I missed out on that opportunity right now, but I'm going to carry on and finish her off. But I thought I'd show you just something real quick, some sort of work that I've been doing on her. Just going to move this over. So I sort of started to do some paint overs first because we didn't know what she was going to look like. And this is actually using the actress's face, and then I just painted over the top. So this is one of the best ways you can do sort of conceptual pieces if you wanted to visualize something before you build it inside of ZBrush. I highly recommend you do this sort of thing. So this is like the third attempt that I had, and this is the second attempt that I had. Actually, it looks pretty cool with the white hair. I thought the hair would be more silver than the actual body, so I thought, you know, playing around with that. And this was the first one. This one actually kind of, apart from the body, it kind of looks a little bit like her in the film. And I'll just carry on through here. So you can see here, if I just put that there, you can see here how I did it. So I took a photo of the actress who's portraying her, and then I painted over it inside of Photoshop and created a concept using her real face. And it's a lot faster than trying to sculpt her face and then do all the concepting things that you might do using ZBrush. It's much easier just to go inside of Photoshop and just attempt to do it inside of Photoshop first. And that's my idea of what I thought Silver Surfer was going to look like for the Fantastic Four that's coming out. But I'll just show you quickly, because I've got it here, the actual model. So this is the actual model I'm sculpting at the moment. And I was going for more of a theme of, oh, I can't see me, can you? There we go. So my idea, because the Fantastic Four that's coming out is kind of set in that retros 60s sort of sci-fi environment, I decided I wanted to try to portray a little bit of that onto the Silver Surfer as well. So instead of just having a full-on silvery, very plain, boring, not boring, but plain look, rather than having like line work and detail to it, you know, which I'm trying to do myself. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use the anatomy of a female and just build in some cool looking line work. I did this before actually with the Silver Surfer. Oh, we ain't got any music on, have we? 1 second. Get some music on. I'm all thumbs tonight, guys. Sorry about that. Here we are. So I originally did this with a Silver Surfer in the past. So I'll just bring this one up. So this is the male version of the Silver Surfer that I created in the past. And as you can see, I tried to make the sort of details of the anatomy sharper, like the muscle details sharper, and a lot of like face work on them, and it didn't come out too bad. So I thought I decided I you know, because the new one's coming out, the new film's coming out soon, I wanted to try and replicate that, but using doing a female instead. And so I have been trying to do that very thing, but at the same also trying to keep it very feminine, very soft features, not too hard. We don't want to make it look too hard. So it's quite difficult. Female anatomy is always very difficult to actually get right. But the hardest part was actually trying to add some of her facial features in, because I am not a facial modeler, like a celebrity modeler. I just tried to sculpt as much of a likeness as I can on her, because I will be rendering her face, this face, like the face I'm showing you now, but I will also be and putting it onto the model. So yeah, it should be like, I don't know if you've ever seen any portfolios of concept artists who work in the film industry, but they'll do this a lot. That what they'll do is they'll take a photo from online of the actual actor's face, and they'll just composite it onto the model of the character they're trying to create. So I thought that would be quite a cool little sort of thing to do as well. So yeah, that's the idea. And I know you're kind of looking at her like this and you're thinking that doesn't look very cool, but once you actually add the droplet texture, it kind of mimics that silver look, and I think it's going to work really well with this character. As soon as I get the hair sculpted in there as well, which is one of the last things I want to do. But yeah, I think it looks pretty cool going at the moment. So let's put this back to startup and let's jump in. By the way, what do you guys think about the trailer? I thought it was a good trailer. But then again, most trailers are good. They don't tend to, most trailers, but you know, they always try to make the trailers look really good, but then sometimes the actual product is not so good. So it's kind of deceiving a little bit, and they also kind of put too much in the trailers, I believe. But I think that was a pretty good trailer. I did like seeing The Thing in there a lot more. So yeah, I think that it's gonna be all right. I think this film. I'm gonna probably wait and see how it goes though before I jump on and go to the cinema to go see it, because it's quite expensive these days. Anyway, where was I? Yes, I believe there was a question from Joseph from last week when I was showing you how to use the, well, not last week, on Monday, on the dragon tutorial on how to sculpt the dragon wings. He asked about the Z-spheres and how to sort of use Z-spheres, and a particular thing he wanted to know is how to delete a Z-sphere in a link. So I'll quickly just show you what I mean by that. So if we get the Z-sphere, oh, for God's sake, if we get the Z-sphere, and let's say you draw out one like that, and then you add a couple of in here, and then you add a couple here, but oops-a-daisy, you decided, oh, it's too many, I want to delete a few. So let's say I want to delete this one here. The way you can do that is if you hit Q on the keyboard to create a link, you can then hit Alt on the, I think it's Alt. Yeah, if you hit Alt, it'll bring up a little minus sign on the cursor. And what you can do then is just tap on the spheres that you want to delete, and it will just delete that in the link. And that's how you delete a link inside of Z-spheres. It's very quick. I just wanted to, you know, show you how to do that in case anybody was wondering how to do that in the from the tutorial. All right, so I think I'm quite a bit behind on the YouTube channel here. I think it's it's struggling to keep up the live stream. Let me just check the live stream quick. Okay, yeah, it's about 2, 3, 5 seconds behind. Anyway, yes, so we're gonna just carry on with this face hugger tonight. If you have any questions you want to ask me, or you want to bring up any topics to talk about, please feel free to just add them in the chat, and I'll read them out, and then I can give you my opinions, or we can discuss things. But I'm just going to carry on with the sculpting of this in the meantime, and yeah, get on with it. Really, is there any questions at the moment? I got one here from Dave Newhouse. I'm still hoping it's good. The thing looked odd with teeth. Yeah, the thing did look odd, and I have seen that a lot about on the internet about how he looks odd with teeth. But I think what they're trying to do is go to the original idea, or not the original idea, but one of the comic books sort of runs has a very similar looking, and so I think I'm losing my stream here. Oh, okay, we're back in. Yeah, so the thing does look a little bit weird with the teeth, but it's very comic book accurate to the particular comic book that they're trying to reimagine. And I think the overall design being closer to the comic books is better, in my opinion. I don't like the idea of it sort of going too far away from the comic book. So I did a thing, and I have seen other sort of concepts of it, but if you can keep it 90%, I'd say 90% like the original design, and maybe add a little bit of 10% in just to change it just a little bit, to make things make sense. Moreover, to make things make sense rather than to change the design. So what I mean by that is, if you have a rock monster, right, and you have like the arms, if you want to have like bendable arms and stuff, then you need to sort of design the arms to have a very human anatomy, rather than in the comic books it's just a massive sort of tube for an arm. You know, there's not much anatomical features on him. So changing it that 10% just to make it make sense, I think is much better than changing it like the opposite. So having 90% different and 10% the same, or what it should look like in comic books, and that would just be the name really, or the color of it. I think 90% and 10% is much better, but it looked very good, I must say. Yeah, got one here from Shaheen Walton. Wow, finally get to see a live stream, can hear you. Yeah, well, I've been doing this for a little while now, I think since the beginning of the year, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm hoping to keep it going. I hope I can keep guys sort of entertained, and also show you how to do things inside ZBrush. So hopefully it'll carry on for a lot longer. Okay, so we got our little guy here. Now the tail needs to have a little bit of detail to it. Now I would normally Dynamesh it and then smooth it, but I think what I'll do instead is just subdivide it a couple of times so that it's already smooth, thus not having to worry about doing it later, and then come in here, delete the lower ones, lower subdivisions, and then do the Dynamesh. This way it just keeps it nice and smooth. That's quite a lot actually. Let's put that down a bit. That's better. So yeah, instead of having to smooth it at the beginning, I just smoothed it. I just subdivided it so it's smooth, and then Dynameshed it. Should I grab the move brush quick? Just move that up. How's everybody's week going, by the way? It's a pretty short week here in England. I'm not sure anywhere else, but we have our Easter holidays starting, and a lot of people are very excited and probably not going to be in this live stream because they are going on holiday. But yeah, so how's everyone's week been so far? I hope everyone's had a nice, easy week. No major things gone wrong. Just going to come here. Oh god, look at that. It's got scales all the way down the length. Oh dear. Yeah, I know I'm going to do this. Just trying to think. First thing I want to do though is stroke on. Yeah, lazy radius. Let's turn that up a little bit. And I'm gonna try and make a ridge along the top. So there's not such a, well, I should make a ridge or should I just pull it out? This is difficult. Let's just pinch that in on the side. I'm gonna have to go all the way down the length. Maybe just, well, maybe it has to. All right, let's do that. Let's just define that. Oh, I keep losing signal. I don't know why. I haven't got anything on here that's. I'm going to turn off all my websites. Quick. It's just you guys. Hopefully that will stabilize it. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what's going on with YouTube at the moment. There we are. Come around the front, grab the standard again. I'm just gonna do the same thing on the other side. There we are. I'm just going to move that up into here. Just grab the reference quick. I'm just going to see what the reference looks like from the other side. Yeah, it's going to need to be sculpted out. Doing that little line there. Yeah, these parts are gonna mold into here. I'm just gonna move those in. Just for future, once we merge these together, it'll be a lot cleaner in that section. Just a little bit of detail there. All right, I'm not going to go too crazy with the detail there because we've still got to sort of merge it all together. Oh, I've got our coffee. Right. Yeah, let's pinch this end of the tail. Now, I'm not sure whether or not it's got an actual claw on the end. I think in the Romulus version, it actually has a little claw on the end of the tail. I believe it was this one, or a spike on the end of the tail. But I think the original didn't. I think it just had a normal sort of tail going on. So I think we'll keep with that idea instead. Yeah, let's do that. Oh god, look. It's a fat tail at the side, yeah. Right, just clean that up a bit. Got one here from Joseph Bonkowski. I'm a comic book fan since I was 6, but until now I didn't know there is a female Silver Surfer. Yeah, that's it's a bit strange, that one, because I've heard on the internet, because the people I watch on the internet for my sort of for entertainment purposes, they mentioned that there is a female Silver Surfer, but she is only in one comic book within the Fantastic Four series, I think, and she was kind of, I don't know what the story was, but I'm guessing it's an alternative reality, or she's from the same planet as Silver Surfer and was told to go get what's the guy's name? I can't remember the guy's name, the Silver Surfer's name. Anyway, told to go and find him or something like that. But yeah, she was in, I think, one comic book in back in the day. But I think, you know, what I think is actually happening in this film, and I might be wrong, but it's an alternative reality to the Fantastic Four that we know, because the original Fantastic Four, the Silver Surfer, was a male, right? So I'm hoping that it's an alternative reality, and it must be an alternative reality because there you go, alternative Earth X. Thank you, Joseph. He says on an alternative universe, Earth X. Yeah, I thought so. But yeah, so I think that's what's going to happen. They are a alternative for Fantastic Four, which gets sucked into, well, this is what I'm thinking anyway, gets sucked into our time, into our universe at the end of the Fantastic Four First Steps film, and then go on to help the Avengers in Doomsday, which is the Avengers Doomsday film. And that will also be pulling alternate universes around as well. I think some people have mentioned that Robert Downey Jr., who's going to play the Doom character in Doomsday, is actually an alternative reality of Iron Man in the story. Don't know how much that is true, but it would make a little bit of sense. He would have been an evil Iron Man, so he would have been a smart guy with an iron suit. So Doctor Doom, you know, it just kind of makes sense a little bit, I think. But yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. They're going to be sucked into the real universe after the events with Galactus in the Fantastic Four film. Let's see. Oh, it's too little detail in there. Yeah. I'm not going to put that detail in just yet because it's not enough for it. I think what we can do now is actually sort of merge these together. I think this would be the best part to do that. I'm just going to save it real quick because I always like to save something and go and at least have something to fall back on in case something goes wrong. But before I do, I just noticed that these flaps on the side here are actually straighter along here. And on my one, they're a bit rounder. I wonder if they look different from the... Yeah, those ones are slightly smaller. And they connect around here. This is going to be a odd one. Let's just make them a little smaller. The move brush. And I'm also going to straighten the end there. So we're going to have a bit of both, really. We'll have a bit of this and a bit of that on our character. Or our creature. Yeah, that's still going to look good. Either way. Right, I'm just going to save it real quick, and then we can merge it all together and start to do a little bit more detailing to it. So I'll just quickly save this. Right. Cool. So if I come over to subtools, we're going to start at the top and work our way down. I don't think we need this one anymore. So I'm just going to delete this one. So come down to merge down, I'm going to hit always OK because I know what I'm doing. But if you're ever worried that you might mess up the merging process, just hit the OK button instead of the always OK. Otherwise, you won't get that warning message when you try to merge down, and you might merge down something that is not supposed to be merged down. So just keep that in mind. If you're a beginner, there we are. So they are all now merged. When you're from Joseph Bonkowski. I read a rumor on Instagram somewhere that said Russo brothers said that RDJ's Doctor Doom birth is related to Iron Man's Endgame death. Possibly. Yeah. Wouldn't know a lot about that one, but it would, yeah, could possibly be that. I still think he's an alternative Iron Man that went rogue or went evil. Maybe, I don't know, what was that woman's name he's in love with? Maybe she died in his reality and he couldn't bear it, so he turned evil instead. Pepper, you know? So maybe that's what happened. Who knows? You know? Could be though. Be interesting to know what happens. Dynamesh this again. Because it's all one piece now, I want to Dynamesh it so that it's all the pieces are merged together properly. Let's just bump that resolution up a bit. Maybe bump it down a bit. It's difficult to realize. Wait, it's 300,000, so yeah, about the same. There we go. Will do. Right, now we can actually start to do some sculpting. So not detailed sculpting, but some cleanup sculpting to begin with on this character. So just going around the smooth brush, very lightly tapping around the model. I don't want to sort of lose any detail that I might have sculpted. And I don't want to smooth out the whole model, because smoothing your whole model just destroys any detail that you might have had. Grab the clay brush. Now, I'm gonna have a look here quick. I think we'll smooth the connection parts here like they've done here. So just gonna merge this to the tail. Oops. So that it's level. And this one, I'm just trying to draw out what I'm seeing here quick. So if we did this and went all the way down the length, would that be all right? Would that work? Maybe we need to add a bit more shape to it. So we did. Actually, we need to. So it comes down, in, out, back on itself, and then back in. Okay. So it needs to be like that. Like that. That looks pretty good. I could work with that. And now we just need to repeat that process all the way down. So we need to just smooth out this area and add another one there. Yeah, this is going to take some time, but you know what? It's actually not a bad idea to take your time with this sort of thing, and make sure that you're actually sculpting and learning to sculpt. Sometimes a lot of people would like to just get to the end without actually sculpting and learning how to do it properly, and then they can't get the level of detail that they want out of it, or the practice out of it. So it's a good idea to go take your time, in the stage and just enjoy the process, really. Got Joseph Bonskowski asking, is this Alpha 47 for damp standard can be downloaded from that old Pixelogic library? I would like to use it in Nomad Sculpt. Let's have a look. I think you can just export it yourself from ZBrush. If you have ZBrush, you can just go to the Alpha 47 and then export it, export the alpha. And then you can save that as PNG, I believe. And then you can import that into Nomad Sculpt. Funny enough, I have also downloaded Nomad Sculpt. I'm trying to learn it at the moment when I have some spare time. But I have it on possibly the smallest iPad mini. So I'm struggling to sculpt on such a small screen, but yeah, I think it's worth it because you know you can take it anywhere and sculpt at any point, anywhere you want. So it's kind of like my backup ZBrush, I could say, my backup sculpting program that I'll use when I travel or when I. Oh, that's close. Just gonna check this music quick. Do that on the side. And I'll get a banner up as well, why not? In the background, online store. Or, I'll get the membership banner up. For those of you that want to become a member and watch past live streams, you can, yeah, just go ahead and go to my YouTube channel and sign up. And you'll be able to watch all the live streams that we've had before as a member. And there's some good stuff in there. There's some other tutorials and talks about films and creature designs and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting stuff. I think that's going to be really cool all the way down it. And we could just add some more detail to it. I'm not going to do all of it because we still need to retopo and all that. I just want to make sure that the model right now is clean enough and got enough detail in certain areas before we retopo it and then go into the fine details. It's a very simple, well, I say very simple. It's a simple enough creature that we're doing here. And it shouldn't take that long to really get finished. So I'm just using the clay brush now to enhance some of them parts in the top here. I actually quite enjoy using the clay brush a bit more than the clay builder brush. It's just a little softer on the character, but it still gives you a nice build up. And if you use it in conjunction with the Alt button to push in and push out the clay, it really helps to build up forms slowly on your creature. Yeah. Okay, let's just add some detail in here. And just connect it here so it's not so obvious that we had two separate subtools connecting there. We're just blending in those areas there. This whole inner mouth thing we'll have to work on it. Just gonna get the concept of it up. Yeah. Very much more spider-like underneath here. Now we're doing a bit of a chimera with this. So if you look here on the reference, how that one's got the little mandibles in the front as well. We're using this version and this version. We're kind of mixing them together a bit, and you know, making a bit of a hybrid between each one. So we're using some features of this one and then some features of this one in this design. So if you see me jumping between them, you can, you know, you'll know why. Got one here from Joseph. Do you know already what will be the next 4 hours video? Yes, I do. I'm kind of, because I've got such a big backlog of videos, I can actually get most of them done because I just put them all together in Adobe Premiere, add music, and then export it. So, you know, they're gonna be quite easily to create. And I have actually exported about 4 already, but they're going to be every other week. So next week is the time-lapse video. Will be the 4 hour long or however hour long video of my past projects. So yeah, next week is the time-lapse, then the week after will be the long form video as well. Just let me know if you're seeing anything weird going on with the live stream. I seem to be jumping in and out. I think YouTube keeps crashing. I just want to know if there's any feedback your end, if you notice anything weird happening. So just put that in the comments as well. Cool. So just going to carry on adding some detailing here. Yeah, sometimes I freeze. God damn it. Yeah, I think it's got something to do with YouTube. I'm hoping it's not going to be too bad. I haven't got any other windows open, though. It keeps telling me to close windows, but I haven't got anything open apart from StreamYard and Discord. Let me turn off Discord real quick. And I'll turn off the other channel there. Maybe this will stabilize it a bit more. All right, let's carry on, shall we? Okay, need the dam standard. And just going to cut it there. And bring out the clay brush. Join those areas there. So I'm just cleaning up this section down here on the mouth. Yeah. Now I'm going to add a little bit of detailing here, just to define the model a bit, because we lost a little bit of that when we dynameshed it. So just keeping some of that structure in there so that when we do it again, it'll still be visible. Just going to shave down these flaps here a bit. And then bring out the standard brush. I'm gonna add that outer edge out in there, push it in on the inside. what I think happens with the YouTube stream, because I think I've seen it before on other people's streams, is it will crash and then it will come back, but at the time you'll see a freeze, but after the film goes to, well, after you finish your live stream, it'll fix it during that process so that you won't actually see any of that glitching, I guess, in post. Well, let's see what happens. I mean, I'm gonna see what happens once it's finished, but it's a bit of a pain in the backside is doing it. Okay. Yeah, so if you have any questions about anything, just let me know. I'm just going to be sculpting here until I get questions, so the ball's in your park. Just gonna start adding a few more details there. There we go. Damn standard. We can detail the legs a little later once they've been retopoed. Just gonna grab the trim dynamic. Just gonna put a bit of trim dynamic on this top here, shave it down a bit. I'm just gonna damn standard in between the fingers. All right, there we are. Okay, so I'm gonna now duplicate this, hide the top one, which will be our high poly, and I'm gonna, using the ZRemesh guides, just going to give some guides for the ZRemesh to follow. These aren't perfect, it won't make it perfect, but it will help a lot for ZBrush to be able to sort of, well, I want to try to say here, it'll help ZBrush to figure out the way the flow of the topology should be for this creature if you just add a few guides for it. On the inside here, it's going to be quite important to have it sort of follow a sort of circular motion like this, rather than a straight up and down. So just going to add a few circles in there to help it identify that that's going to be a very important area for it to be circles. And I'm not going to worry too much about the tail, because the tail will just be one long sort of tube for ZBrush. And I just add one here. Oh, we add one like this. That's better. Let's add another one as well. And this is all mirrored over, so what will happen on one side will happen on the other side as well. Just to help it with the ZRemesh step further, I'm just going to polygroup these models so that they have their own polygroups. Now what happens is, ZBrush will see that there's a polygroup border here when it's Z-remeshing, and it will know to have a ring in this area, so an edge loop in this area, before carrying on down the separate polygroup. So it will try its best to create a good topology flow there when Z-remeshing. I'm just going to do that with all the digits. It also helps with UV mapping, so I'll show you how to do that as well in a minute. W, Control W. Oops. Let's just paint out this area. Turn off the wireframe. There we are. So I just want to have those flaps. I don't want the actual body of it like that. So now everyone's got their own everyone's got their own polygroups, and everything's got its own Z-remesh guide. It's going to be a lot better for ZBrush to create better topology. So turn off Dynamesh, come down to Z-remesher, and I'm just going to put this to 10 for now. I just want to see what it looks like at 10. Oops, I forgot to do something. Just going to hit escape to abort that. Keep groups. You want to keep the groups basically. I'm just going to hit Z-remesh again and see what happens. So I just cut out again on live. Damn it, YouTube. Right, so you can see it's done not a bad job. It's tried to keep as much of the Z-remesh guide as possible. We could probably put this down actually to about 5 and see what happens. It's starting to mess up a little bit here, but if you just smooth that out, if you ever get that issue where you can actually see a hole, you're not actually seeing a hole. It is actually filled in. It's just that Z-remesh has gone a bit weird over here. So all you gotta do is just get the smooth brush out and just smooth out that little bit. If you really wanted, you could stitch those two points together as well. That might just help as well. But it's not done a bad job. We could do is just hit Z-remesh again, and that'll just make it even cleaner, but it's going to smooth it out a little bit. You're going to lose a bit of that detail, which is not a problem because we're going to project what we had back onto this. So you can probably keep going until you get a nice clean model. I'm going to try turning the adaptive size down. Ooh, that's too clean. I'll keep the adaptive at 50. Turn the curve down, see what happens. That's not too bad. Might just give it 10 and bump this up to 6. Change the music real quick. There we are. No, that doesn't work. Might have to undo all of that and then just try again. Might have to go back to 10. In order to get enough detail in the low poly version. And a lot smoother layout. Trying to, oh, maybe I could do is go to deform and just relax it. There we go, that's better. We just come in here and just relax the model a bit, then it just gives us a nice clean well, not clean, but it's what do you call it? I'm stuck with the word. It is spaced out. The polygons are a lot better, so it's got better topology sort of look to it. Oh, I'm completely between YouTube crashing and my speech tonight. It's just It's all going overboard. Anyway, once we've done that, we now have the high poly on top, low poly on bottom, and we can now come down to the project. I'm just going to project everything from the top down. So always make sure that your high poly model is at the top, or your decimated model is at the top, and your low poly model is at the bottom. It's always good to have the wireframe on as well when you do this, because you want to be able to know which one is the high poly and which one's the low poly. So I'm going to leave the distance at 0.02 and the medium to 25. We don't need the color, and we just want the geometry. Just going to project all and see what happens. So now we have projected. I've done our first projection, and that's pretty good. We're going to go up in stages, like I mentioned in a previous Dragon tutorial. It's better to project going up in stages than it is to project at the highest subdivision level. And the reason for that is because every time you subdivide, it shrinks the model that you're working on, because it's smoothing, right? And so what you want to do is go up in stages. So you subdivide and then wrap it to the high poly so that it crashed again. Okay, so it brings the model back out, and then you subdivide again and it'll push the model back in, and you bring it back out, the projecting or the wrapping, and you just keep doing that until you get to the higher subdivision level. Otherwise, you'll be spending a lot more time cleaning the projection rather than at the end, rather than just being able to do a bit of smooth here and there and fix a few, not a lot, but a few issues. So we're going to just carry on with that. So we're going to subdivide. You don't have to have the thing visible. You can actually solo this model and then just hit project, because it's just a solo. It's not actually affecting the visibility in the subtool palette here. So if you wanted to do that, you can do that, but you don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just going to keep subdividing and projecting. I want to try and hit a good number in the active polygons. Now, the good number for detailing is normally around 10 million, depending on your machine. You probably have a better machine, you can go higher. You can probably have a worse machine, so you can only do maybe 1 or 4 million polygons. I know that I can go up to roughly about 10 on this machine. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to subdivide until I get roughly about 10 million. Just going to project that because I don't know if I did. Okay. Let's subdivide again, project. Just give that a minute. So as you get higher up in the subdivision level, it's going to take longer to project as well. So just keep that in mind. Subdivide again and project. Now I'm going up to about 6 million, which is a good number. It's probably about subdivision level 6. Don't really want to go any higher than subdivision level 6, so we'll probably keep it at 6 million, because it's quite a small model as well, so you don't have to worry too much about having to subdivide too much, because it's a small model as well. Got one here from Dick Piano. Is there a limited to subdivision? Sometimes I can't subdivide more than subdivision level 7. Yeah, like I just mentioned, anything higher than subdivision level 7, you're probably doing something wrong, or you're trying to break your machine. Normally, subdivision levels 5 and 6 is the sweet spot. Subdivision 5, because subdivision level 6, you're looking at a very high number. Every time you subdivide, I don't know if you know this, but some people might not know this, but every time you subdivide, you're adding 4 quads to your model, right? So if you think of, how can I show this? Let's get this up. I'll show you. You probably know this, but for those who don't know it, I'll just draw it real quick. So let's say we have a cube. It's a very bad looking cube, really rubbish looking cube. But let's say you have a cube. Actually, oh god, that's horrible. And it's got one face on each side, right? So it's got one face on each side. When you subdivide, and let's say we subdivide without smooth on, okay? Without smooth on. So every time you subdivide, you're adding 4 polygons to that face, right? And when you subdivide that, you're adding, now you got another 4 polygons. So every time you add polygons, you're increasing the amount of faces on that side. So instead of having 4, you now have, I think it's 4, 8, 12, 16. If you subdivide that again, it's probably about 20, no, whatever double 16 is. I'm not good with maths, but that's why, that's how subdivision levels work. Now, the better your PC, the more subdivision levels you can go up, but you're really going to be putting a strain on your machine. So I think Dick says, so it's a limitation from the program, not the PC. It's a limitation from both. ZBrush is very fragile when it gets to higher levels of subdivision, but your PC is also going to be very prone to if you go too high up as well. So just bear that in mind. Don't go past subdivision 5 or 6. If you can go to 6, go to 6. If you can't go to 6, stay at 5. That's how I see it. You're really going to push the limits of your model of your program if you go higher. If you need to go higher, then you'll have to split your model up, and then you have to do some other workaround, which is very complex. It's very advanced skills, and I think I've done it before. It's very advanced, and it will take some practice in doing it. But yeah, you'd have to separate your subtools. You'll say your arm, your torso, your legs, separate them completely. Subdivide those to level 6 on each piece. Sculpt the detail you want, and then export the maps from that. If you're going to take it to film or game or whatever, I'm not game, but film. Then you subdivide, then you export the maps from that. Each subtool. It's very complex, and something that you'll probably pick up in the industry once you start to learn it or start to work with it. But that's not what we're going to be focusing on. So don't worry, anytime soon. So yeah, that is how subdivision levels work on polygons. And just remember, when you have smooth on, it then starts to smooth it and create a sphere. So if you had a cube, it will actually start to smooth it into a sphere. Very good way of sort of seeing that in action is if you go to Maya or another 3D program like Blender, and you do a smooth on a cube, it'll smooth it and it'll add the subdivision levels or the faces, and also shrink it to a sphere. One here from Joseph, and also depends on the software. 10 million polygons are okay in ZBrush on my PC, but the same number in Blender, well, Blender starts to struggle in its life on my PC. Yeah, it also depends on the program. Like if you try to import a very high number into Maya, like let's say 10, it'll probably crash or be very sluggish. It's not built, Maya's not built for that sort of thing, and if your computer's not built for that sort of thing, then you're definitely gonna break it, or you probably won't be able to use it. Yeah, but Blender isn't built for high polygons. Okay, well, I'm not an expert on Blender. I'll have to take your word on it. He says their sculpting, Dick says their sculpting has improved, but it will not match ZBrush until it solves its ability to handle extremely high polygons. Okay, yeah, that's always been a contentious subject, I think, about Blender and other softwares. I know that it's because Blender is a free-to-use program and it's open source, which is why a lot of people like it. and I haven't dived into it too much. I dived into it when it first started, and I managed to make a pencil, and I found the controls very complex to use. I believe it's come leaps and bounds since then. I would like to get into it someday when I have time, but actual industry standard is not Blender at the moment, and I don't know whether or not it's ever going to be Blender, because it would mean that the whole studios, all the studios that are using the standard version of Maya and ZBrush and all that, they would actually have to change their whole pipeline to accommodate Blender, and that would just take a lot of time to do that, and they'll probably lose a lot of sort of work in the time they do it. It could possibly be used in the future. If it's actually better for indie projects or indie studios to use it, because it doesn't cost anything, I believe. Don't hold me to that, but it's much better for indie projects or very like startup VFX studios and stuff like that. You know, very small studios, not for the major studios, but for very small studios, it's a good tool to have. Its modeling, Dick says, its modeling capabilities are way easier than ZBrush though. It depends on, you know, if you use ZBrush all the time or if you use Blender all the time. I've sort of grown up with ZBrush, so this is like second nature to me, unfortunately. Or fortunately. So let's just have a look. We're at subdivision level 5 at 6 million. If I was to subdivide this again, I think it would actually struggle to do anything to do it. So let's just try and see what happens. Yeah, so now we're at 26 million, and I don't think we ever need to go 26 million unless you are, just undo that before it crashes, unless you are coming right up close to the model, and I mean face to face with it. You will never need to go to 26 million polygons. Those are for very specific shots in films and stuff like that. For the detail. Got on here from Shane. ZBrush manages to work with such high poly counts because of the way it interprets the model. It's actually not checking the whole model, it's using a type method of back face culling in viewport. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. I'm just an artist. I know the program. I don't know it inside out. I have been using it for a long time. I do know how to use it, but I don't know the backlog of it, unfortunately. But that's interesting to know. I think would Mari use the same method as well? Because Mari, you can put very big models in Mari to texture at very big scale, and it seems to hold the topology quite well. So I'm wondering whether or not Mari does the same thing. Anyway, let's say that is done. So we now have two models, one with good topology and one with bad topology, the decimated version. And we've just projected all of that onto the clean version. And as you can see in the projection, there's a bit of screwy up stuff going on here, some weird geometry projections going on. So what we need to do is just clean this up. The best way to do that is to first use a smooth brush and smooth it out as much as possible, like that. And then it's going to be very tedious, but going down in stages and just coming back up in each one and just smoothing them out will 99% of the time do the job. Going here from Dick again. How long have you been working with ZBrush? I hope that's asking me how long I've been working with ZBrush and not the others, but I've been working with it since university I graduated university in 2012 and started to take ZBrush seriously in 2013, 14, I believe. So yeah, a good long time, about 10, I'd say about 10 years, 11 years I've been using it. But that's not just ZBrush I've been using. I've also been using other programs and learning other programs. But once you get into the industry and you have a proper sort of role in the industry, then you kind of you kind of get to know what programs to use anyway. What version of ZBrush you start? I can remember starting. That's a good question. 2012. Let me just check. ZBrush 2012 version. Because we had at university, we had ZBrush, and I can remember watching a student at university who was on the games design. Because I did animation, so I didn't actually do game design in university. So I watched someone who was on game design using ZBrush, and he was, you know, pretty good at it. Well, what I thought was pretty good at the time. And he was using the exact same techniques that I'm using today on his models. And yeah, so, oh God, I don't know what the number was. It must have been a 2012 version of ZBrush. I can't remember ZBrush 3 or 4, and unless those are the ones from that time. Could have been. Yeah, once they kept updating it, because I just completely forgot who or what was before that, unfortunately. Tell what's the latest version. Got one here from Joseph. If somebody knows ZBrush with Blender instead of ZBrush with Maya, is it harder to stand a foot in the industry? Yes. Maya is industry standard. So if you don't know Maya, it used to be this. It used to be a battle between two programs, right? It used to be a battle between, as far as I know, 3ds Max and Maya. When I was at university, either knew 3ds Max or Maya. Blender came in, but I think that was a very early stages of Blender. Not really anyone really used it. But Maya and 3ds Max were the programs. 3ds Max, though, is more of like a CAD or hard surface modeling for how would you say it? Well, CAD, structural engineering and car manufacturing and stuff like that sort of thing. It wasn't very. I don't know if it was very VFX friendly, and so I think Maya, the people at Autodesk, bought 3ds Max. Well, they were 3ds Max. 3ds Max and Maya were the same company, I believe, and they sort of pitted the two teams together. Pitted the two teams of the programs against each other to see which one would be better or in the long run. And I think Maya shone the most because it was being used for the film industry. I think before it was Maya, now correct me if I'm wrong, before it was Maya, it was Soft Image, which is what they used for Jurassic Park. Or it was something soft something, and that was kind of the beginning stages of 3D program, and they had a very similar look to what Maya's program and 3ds Max's program had. But unfortunately, Maya won the battle. Well, fortunately, Maya won the battle. Not a lot of people sort of learned 3ds Max for film industry. There's always Maya. So the key programs to learn if you're going to want to become in the industry, if you want to become an artist in the industry, the key programs are ZBrush, Maya, Substance Painter, Mari, which is a texturing program, and then you've got Marvelous Designer, which is a clothing program, so you create 3D clothes in that. I'd say those 5 programs are key. If you want to jump into the VFX stuff, then Houdini is the one you want to work on or work with, because you do a lot of VFX stuff in Houdini, and also if you want to learn, you have to learn Unreal as well, because that's being used a lot now in films as well as games. So having an experience in that is key as well. If you if you don't want to do the sort of backlog work, so character designs and sculpting and stuff like that, another good idea to learn is character creator in Unreal or metahumans in metaverse. Metahumans. Those are programs where you take a model and you put it into the system, and you can use their tools, which are like rigging, animating, and stuff like that, to create characters using Character Creator. If you know how to use Character Creator, you got a pretty good chance of getting a job in the games studios, as well as VFX. If you know VFX, you're like gold to companies at the moment, because there's not a lot of VFX artists in game design. VFX artists always seem to go from game into film very quickly, because they can get paid more in film than they can in game, but they can ask for quite a lot of money in game because they constantly need VFX artists who do the visual effects, smoke, gunshots, breaking buildings and stuff like that. So I would always say VFX in that sort of way is one of the key roles to go for in game and film, if you don't want to do character work. I got one from Shaheen. What do you think about the new licensing? Use of ZBrush, even though I use it every day. It's one of those things with the economy as it is right now. It's a little bit too expensive, and although I use it all the time, I know that a lot of other people can't afford the subscription. So I jumped back to 2022, which was the last one Pixelogic created. And I also had 2021 as well, in case people use 2021. But 2022 was the last Pixelogic version. And a lot of artists still use that. And a lot of studios actually still use that. I think they are hesitant to download ZBrush 2025. There's a few licenses, but they're hesitant to buy all-out licenses for studios because it just costs so much. So they might have one or two licenses, and those one or two licenses will probably go to the more senior artists or lead artists who are creating hero characters or very specific things using ZBrush 2025's tools. And so they'll still have a majority licenses for 2022. And that's as far as they can go with that one, because there's no more Pixelogic versions out there. So you'll always need to learn 2022 ZBrush. Yeah, I think they got a lot of good things, because I think Pixelogic also didn't really create new things for ZBrush. I think they got to a certain point and they were just trying to keep it at that level and didn't really innovate on ZBrush. But what Maxim have done and are doing is amazing, and they're going to new heights with the ZBrush stuff, adding in redshift rendering, so you can render like key shot stuff inside of ZBrush itself. You don't even have to go outside of ZBrush to render anymore. They added a lot of cool features in there. It is worth it if you have the money. If you don't have the money, then unfortunately you'll probably be working on ZBrush 2022 license. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's for me, it's like a luxury good. Okay, so I won't buy it because I don't have money to buy it every year, because I see it as a luxury item to have all those features and tech support and stuff like that. But so yeah, I just use ZBrush 2022 for now because it's pretty stable. It's a pretty stable program. So yeah. unless they completely do away with it, I think everyone will just stick with 2022 for now. Got one here from Joseph. With your pipeline tutorial on our station, can I learn the fundamentals that needed in Maya for the industry? If that's the one with the squig, yes. That is a full-on how to create a character. Well, I say how to create a character. The character is already made. You're just learning how to take the high poly model into Maya to retopo it for a game-ready asset, and then taking that into Substance Painter, learning about Substance Painter, and then applying that knowledge onto the model, the texturing knowledge onto the model, and then exporting the texture maps in a way that you might export them for a game industry. Not a film industry, but a game industry. And then I plugged them into Marmoset Toolbag so you can kind of see how they would look if they were in engine or in a rendering engine. I didn't go into Unreal Engine 5, unfortunately, because I don't have it on my machine, and I think if I did have it on my machine, it would probably crash it, so I don't actually have it on my machine. But Marmoset Toolbag is a cool way to just get an idea how your textures will look inside of engine, basically, like a preview. And it's also good for your portfolio. You can have it as your portfolio as well. But that's it's a good long tutorial. It's a very long tutorial, but it's the pipeline of how to make a character for games, from Maya to Photoshop, basically. I keep crashing. The live stream keeps crashing. I hope it doesn't do that much longer. Anyway, says Shaheen says, yeah, their prices are crazy. Yeah, they are crazy, but because they hold all the cards, I guess they can ask for as much as they like, and if they're going to keep innovating on it, then at least the money is going to to something good. You know, it's not like you're wasting your money, because every time they update it, it just makes the program better. So I mean, you know, apples, oranges, it depends on how you feel, I guess. Oh, by the way, I am actually creating or working on creating a tutorial on how to use Substance Painter. Now, I'm not sure how long it's going to take to make it, but there will be another tutorial coming out for sale on how to use Substance Painter. And I think I have, give me 1 second. I've got a reference here. Yeah, here we are. So I'm going to be showing you, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm going to show you guys how to use Substance Painter as a beginner's course. So it's going to be for beginners, and I'm going to run you through what Substance Painter is and how to set it up, what the program's UI looks like, and how to set that up in the way I use it, but it's how to set that up, and then taking this character and creating textures in a non-destructible way, which is the best way to do it when you're in the industry. You don't want to have a destructible way, you want to have a non-destructible way. Otherwise, things can get very messy very quickly. And I'll take you through on how to create the textures for this and how to export the textures, and then I'll show you inside of Marmoset how to set them up so that you can get a render. I'm not the greatest person with Marmoset Toolbag. I know enough of it to make the textures look good or the model look good, but just so you know, I am working on a tutorial for this guy. You can actually buy the model for this guy, the high poly model and low poly model, which you will need for the tutorial. If you want to buy it separately, I might put two versions up, maybe, of the tutorial, one with one without the model, or I'll just put it in the model in the tutorial. But you'll find out about that later on anyway. But yeah, so I think I've got other images of this. So you're learning how to do it's a very basic texture sort of work on the character. So it's more of a tutorial on how to use the program rather than texturing details and all that sort of thing. But I'm hoping it's going to be an interesting tutorial for you guys. I think I haven't. I think I've done one tutorial with Substance Painter, and I think a lot of people have been asking about that for a while. So I am in the process of making another tutorial for this guy. Right. And you got Joseph saying, yeah, they got the golden egg maker chicken and went greedy. Well, yeah, but if if you had a lot of money and you knew that people needed the program, would you not also be a little bit greedy? I mean, not greedy, but you'd ask for quite a bit. And I mean, the work they do is pretty good. What they've been able to achieve, like updating the softwares and stuff like that. So just it's one of those things, isn't it? All the major companies are a little bit greedy. So yeah, right. Just gonna. Don't know what to do with this. I don't want to sort of sculpt the detail on the tail on stream because it's a bit long in the tooth, right? I think what I'll do is I'll leave because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pencil in these ridges, right, all the way down the tail, and that could be very boring to watch. So I will do that off stream so that when you come back to it next week, so that it'll be there, right? I think what we've got going so far is not bad. It's not bad at all. Just zoom in here. I just want to maybe finish off these lines up here real quick. Just penciling them in. No particular order or anything. Just so I have something there. At least the iPad version is affordable. Is the iPad version free? I'm not sure if it's free or not, because I saw on the iPad when I was trying to find Nomad Sculpt. Can't speak now. Nomad Sculpt. It's driving me crazy. 1 second. Let's see. Yeah, when I was looking in the marketplace, I kind of saw. No, Nomad. I saw that ZBrush for iPad was on there. And I was tempted to download it, but I was worried that they would, send me to a subscription screen where you then have to download or subscribe with a subscription in order to unlock the iPad version. But is that not the case, or is that something anybody knows? If you could let me know, because if it's not, then I'll download on my iPad. Joseph says the basic version is free. The features and the brushes are very limited. The full version needs subscription. Okay, that's good to know. Maybe I'll download that as well and just have a look at what they actually give you in terms of brushes and stuff like that. Because I don't know if you know this, but the brushes that I use are very basic. So maybe they have the same basic brushes on there. Maybe I can download that and see what that looks like as well. But that's good to know, actually. Good to know. All right, just gonna grab the standard brush. I'm just gonna add a line down the center. Yeah, just smooth that out. Says the full version is around $10. $10, is that it? That can't be it, surely. £10 or £10. There might be something to look into, actually. But then I've got a very small iPad. See, if I had a bigger iPad, like a Pro iPad, I'd definitely do that. I'd definitely buy the full version of ZBrush on the iPad for $10. It's not a typo, is it? It's not $100 by any chance. Interesting. Very interesting. I wonder if anybody else is thinking the same thing to buy the cheaper version on the iPad. So I was just going on here and just lifting some of those sort of panels, call them panels, folds up a bit. But they, yeah, that'll be all right. So Joseph says the only thing is missing from it for me is the BPR render passes. So you render it and it just gives you one image on the screen. Is that it? Oh, that's weird. Maybe that'll be an update later on that they'll add in there, but then they'll charge you more for it. He says, yes, just one image, sadly. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. Because is that the free version you're talking about? Because if that's the free version, then I guess so. But if you're paying $10, I'd want to have render passes on there at least. He says, but if you put the model in Keyshot, it doesn't matter. Yeah, true. You can't. Do you have Keyshot? Can you put Keyshot on an iPad? I don't think you can you? I know Keyshot's a very expensive program. If you were to buy it outright, and I don't even think you can buy it outright. I think it's a subscription, but that's even more expensive than ZBrush. Just going to add a little bit of detail in here because I don't want to go too far with it. There's going to be a lot of line work in here. Yeah, I thought there was no Keyshot for the iPad. Yeah. Says, so you have to transfer the model to your PC first. Yeah, true. Thing is, though, you'd have to have a 2025 license in order to open the model because it's not backwards compatible. If it's a Z tool, if it's an OBJ or a FBX, then you could open it in anything, but then you're trying to save a very large file as an FBX or OBJ. We got here from Shane saying, for model format, do you prefer using between your different 3D programs, OBJ, FBX, or something else? Normally it's FBX because FBX can hold more data. OBJ is pretty much just a model, maybe materials as well, but FBX is normally the best preferred format for model exporting for film and game. OBJ will bring it in. You've got to think of it as OBJ is just going to bring in the model, right? But FBX, you can add the rig, the muscle simulator, you can add the muscles, the other parts, animations you can add that all into an FBX and export it as one piece, and into a new program. So normally, yeah, FBX always. It's just got more parameters to it. Okay. What's the time? Oh, it's pretty. Coming up to nearly 2 hours. Well, yeah, roughly 2 hours. So I'm not gonna do too much more. But we've done quite a bit, really. We've, you know, if you think about it, we got probably what, 2 more live streams for this, maybe 3 more live streams of this model. What's the date today? Okay, so next week we can work on this next week, and then the week after well actually wait, no, next week is portfolio review. So if you have a portfolio you want me to have a look at it and we can we'll go through it, we'll do that. So we'll take a break from this next week. The following week we'll come back to it. But yeah, next week is going to be portfolio. So if you want me to, you know, see what you got, and we can sort of chat and look at other people's portfolios and stuff like that you might have found on the internet, you know, be quite cool. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there for tonight. As I mentioned before, I will finish, because you know how these lines here work on the tail. I've shown you how they work. What I'll do is I'll just continue this down the length of the tail, finish it off, and then when we come back next week, we can get into the nitty-gritty of detailing this character and adding, well, I mean, there's not a lot of detail, but adding the detail that we can have or can see from these concepts onto here, and finish it off and get it ready for rendering, I guess. I like the way they did it here, really. I like the way they drew it in this reference. I'll just pull this out. I'm thinking maybe we render it out like this, so it's a nice portfolio piece. Not gonna bother, you know, posing it or anything like this on the face or anything. We'll just do a nice simple render like that, so that it can go into our portfolio and can show it off. Yeah. Got here from Joseph saying yes, there's OBJ and FBX, as well as far as I remember. But I will check it just to be. Oh, okay. Yeah. Check that out. Let me know, because if that is the case, then at least you can get 2025 on an iPad for $10 or however much it is in people's money, and you know, be able to sculpt it with the tools that they have, and then export it as an OBJ or FBX. Probably FBX is your best bet. Export it at the highest level, and then bring it into ZBrush, and just, because what you can do, right, with that sort of thing, and I've done it before with all my high poly models, is I'll export the FBX at the highest subdivision level, bring it into 2021, because you cannot go backwards, remember, so going from 2022 to 2021. Then what I'll do is I'll reconstruct. If you can see here, there's a button here called reconstruct subdivision levels, and that'll just reconstruct all the subdivision levels to the very base model or lowest poly model, and then you've got all your subdivision levels back. So if that's something you can do in 2025, use their tools to create the creature you like, export it as an FBX, bring it into 2022 ZBrush, reconstruct the subdivision levels, and boom, you have your model inside of ZBrush 2022 using ZBrush 2025's sculpting techniques, I guess you could say. And you're only paying £10 instead of, or $10 instead of 200 odd bucks a year for it, if it's a one-off payment. So it's probably a good idea to look into that if you're wanting to see what ZBrush 2025 has. Of course, it's on an iPad, but You got to take the wins when you can, I guess. Right. I think I'm going to call that a night, guys. I'm hoping this has been interesting for you. And before we go, just going to hide the ticker tape. Come over here and remind you all, there's a 30% off sale going on at the moment from April the 1st to April the 30th. So you've got like nearly 2 weeks left to get 30% off. The discount codes are in the bottom of this description box of my ArtStation. You can get tutorials, brushes, models, everything that's on my ArtStation. You can become a member, and I hope you've been seeing that on the ticker tape underneath, but you can become a member of YouTube and be able to get all the archived live streams from previous live streams. So you've got the dragon tutorial, and you've also got these Thursday ones where we sit down and I do some sculpting and talk, and obviously you've seen that tonight, the sort of thing that we talk about. And you can also become a Patreon, and becoming a Patreon, you will also be able to see the ZBrush tutorial on how to sculpt a Velociraptor, which is going on right now on my Patreon site for the tier 3s. And it's a good course. From beginner to experienced artists can learn something from it. And finally, when YouTube stops crashing, I just want to say thank you to all my members so far. And we have now gone up to 22 YouTube members so far, which is great. And I'm going to try and do this without messing up. So I'm just going to do the first names of each one. So you got Nicholas, Luke, the new section. You got Nicholas, Lucas, La Moral del Multiverso, Abish, Martin, RG Gaming, Wesley, Mehmet Garcia. Team in the 1 monthers, we have Zeme VFX, Joe Lewis, Ivan, Maria, Nicholas, Tia Pong, my Japanese mate, which I cannot pronounce because I can't speak Japanese, but he is there, the Japanese guy. Joseph Bonkowski, and in 2 monthers, we've got Joseph Bonkowski, Artser, Chase Burgoyne, Dave Newhouse, Matteo Salek, Nitzer Kracht, Alpernatif 35. Is that the hair product? I'm sure that's the hair product from Germany. Anyway, and Ganesh, thank you very much for being members. I want to try and get to about 30 members. That'd be great to have 30 members sort of signed up. We got my Patreons, 25 members on my Patreons. I want to thank you all. So in tier 1, we got Alan CE. In tier 2, we got Alberto, Anika, Best in Shot, Captain Puffer, Gradual Boredom, Jason, Joseph Bonkowski, Jude Highland, Calvin, I don't know, King Amp, Chrono, Lost in Limbo, Mackay 903, Rafael Diaz, Shabeso, Thabeso, Molpo, Thassa, Tom Euro, and in tier 3 got Aaron Todman, Ganesh, Owen Vandermine, Hoofy76, and Junps. Right, that was tiring. I hope everyone's had a good night. I want to thank everyone again for coming and joining this live stream. Next week we'll be next week Monday, we'll be working on the wings again for our dragon. So come back for that one in the tutorial. I hope everyone has a great Easter holidays. Eat lots of chocolate, watch lots of films, spend with family, whatever you want to do. And I'll see you all on Monday. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more exclusive content and want to support my work further, then please check out my Patreon page at MLW_creative for more. Also, view past live streams you might have missed in Tier 3 tutorial support, where I will be archiving future streams moving forward. If you are interested in other full-length tutorials, brushes, and models, then check out my online stores for more useful content. I would also like to thank all my subscribers and patrons for supporting me for this long. Again, thanks for watching and stay safe.